is Saturday the 23rd. I will apologize for the late report. I was just wiped out and actually had been left alone today to actually sleep and get caught up on sleep before this week begins. So I'm running behind today. Look at our sun. We have lots of activities shooting in and around the sun. You could see the electrical activity shooting down the filaments in between the sunspots. We had a flare shoot up and away from the outgoing limb. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of flaring happening. Let's slow it down here. Let's go back. Right here. See if we can catch any flares because there have been a lot of them. Oh, let's go really slow here. There down on our bottom left-hand corner, you can see some flaring down here. As I tip this back and forth, you can see flaring and activity shooting off from there. Right here at the end, so we know we have activity moving in the lower quadrant on the incoming limb. You can see it moving away and flaring. So I'm gonna let this continue to run through. Again, we should have pretty clear skies through most of the area, partly clear skies tonight. If we're going to fog, Mackinac is going to be the first place that fogs. We are at the time of year where Mackinac typically gets very foggy. It is not necessarily the place you want to run to. Shared with you this map of northern Michigan. There are tons of places. Every place here bookmarked typically should have a view of the north. As you can see, there are lots of places to go. You don't all have to shove into one area. And these are just the places I have bookmarked along the lake shores. There are places inland too that I don't have bookmarked here that will have places to go. Don't have to all run to the same place. So if you get to somewhere, it's crowded, move on to the next. If Glen Haven is crowded tonight, go to Good Harbor, go to Platte River Mouth, go to Esh Beach. Don't crowd in to one spot and overcrowd it. That gets dangerous, and someone eventually is going to get hurt when we overcrowd places. Okay? Take the time, move to a different location. There is room out here for everybody if we use our heads. All right, looking at our solar flaring, everything out here is long duration. That means there's probably some plasma escaping with it as well. There are not any large CMEs happening. So, and our CMEs have not been prevalent today, but there's enough escaping that we might get a little pop and fizzle. So I do not look for much on the 26th and 27th, but we'll see what happens. Looking at the last 24 hours, you can see everything here is very long duration, and we just had another long duration M-class flare. So there is stuff escaping with these flares. It is not necessarily a CME, but it will uptick the activity. There will be winds escaping with these flares that will uptick the forecast. Taking a look at our Alaska, which will give you an idea of what's escaping off the and again for the ones that are first watching this, over here is what we're watching, and this is what is escaping toward Earth over here. And you could say we have a pretty steady diet of at least low-level winds escaping toward Earth. So we should start, when we start to see the uptick, we should see a pretty steady diet of things coming at Earth, with only minor and brief dips of activity that may go low We'll just have to see, but I'm seeing a pretty steady diet of pretty heavy things. Sunspot regions, we are beta delta on 43. This is at our outgoing limb. Still could reach around, maybe tickle us if it's aimed in the right direction. If it's going straight out from the sunspot, though, it is more likely to miss us at this point. So 43, 40, or 40, 43 and 41 are going to miss us. We have 43, 38. That is dropped down below us. 43, 40, 35 is, they've got that misnumbered because that should be 43, 48, 34, 38 right there. Don't pay attention to this. This is right here, should be 38, 30 right here. So 34, 35 is right there. We lost our sunspot behind. Oh, this is 34. They've got this misnumbered. This one is 3440. This is 3444. This is 3439 right here. 3442 is up here, and this should be 34. They're doing some weird numbering on these. Okay. Let's go down and look. This is 4335 right here, and you can see it's grown yet again. And I'm going to save this, and tomorrow we'll go over it. And this is 4338 over here. This sunspot right here is 4338. And you can see it's lost a lot of it. It's lost 3 more sunspots in its formation, and it's starting, but it's gained in size. It's gotten wider and bigger. It's gained in size, but it's lost its sunspots. 35 is still capable of kicking, 70% chance of kicking something out. 37 is around the limb. It won't affect us. They're saying 38 is down here. It's not. They've misnumbered it. I don't know what they're doing, but they've misnumbered it. As with 38, they've got it way off base. It's up here, and they don't even have it pictured. This is 34. They barely pictured it. I don't know what they're doing. They barely pictured 34, 41, but you can see it still. What they do show is they do have magnetic polarity here. It is a beta class capable of kicking something off. Down here, this is 34, 42. It has got a lot of interwoven polarity. It is capable of producing this should be 34, 42. Not down here. This is 43, and it is very definitely capable of producing a major sunspot and possibly a very large one. If we get a large enough one, it still can tickle us. And depending on which way it's going, it could tickle us. It is starting to shrink in size. It has produced a steady diet of C-class flares today, and it is 75% chance of producing more. Now, this is 40. This is 44. So this up here is 44, and it's gone down to an alpha class. This is 35 up in here, and you can see it is rapidly changing shape. It has 15 spots to it, and it is growing in size. It's getting more snarly. It is producing a steady flaring activity. So it is constantly flaring at this point and producing steady C-class flares that is producing a steady wind out of them. 46 is here around the limb. It's an alpha class, and it isn't very much. Do want you to look over here on the limb here. So here's 46 right here, but you're looking at, here's a very bright spot rotating in if you're watching right here, and there's very big umbras that are snapping back here that are producing something. And I think those are what was producing steady halos on the back of the sun. Because you could see, no, let me get it. Let me bring this. You can see here that there's a lot of disturbance and a lot of energy coming off from this area right here in front of that spot, in and around these that are going to be earth facing in the next 2 days. We have a very bright region. Look at these looping filaments coming off of this particular sunspot. This has about a 6-day trip around the sun. So today is 23rd. So that's going to mean 6 days. That's going to put it about the 29th. That it will be probably earth facing and into the strike zone. So we have a very active region here. I do believe this is the region we've been waiting for that has been producing the full halos coming from the backside of the sun that I've been seeing. This here is your 43 that has very definitely, it is beta or delta right now, and if it produces a very large, wide, horizontal eruption, it could graze us. It's not likely if it's a smaller eruption, but if it's a very large eruption and it comes in a horizontal line, then it could graze us. This is 41 over here. It's getting ready to erupt. We've got 35, 38 here, and then we've got the one down here that is giving us a steady diet of C-class layers and is very active. So that is what we are looking at. We are predicted to have, okay, looking at this, we should be starting into a time period where we should be starting to get up to a 3, 4, and then a KP5. That the longer we wait, closer to dark for that to happen, that means it's going to strike in the overnight hours, and that's positive. Remember, I always tell you that NOAA is right about half the time. Very hard to predict when these things will hit and be exactly on time because there's so much moving out here right now at different speeds that I don't think anybody could get it exactly right. So I would hazard to guess this is going to be in the overnight hours. Their timeline is this is supposed to take off at a KP about 9 o'clock at night. We're not there yet. They're saying 1,800 hours. That would have been about 6 o'clock. We're not there yet. We're not even close to a 4 yet. So I would say we're going to be a little bit behind the forecast. I'm going to leave you with that. I don't look for a whole lot to happen on the night of the 25th going into the 22nd unless we're running behind, unless we're a day behind. If we're running a day behind what they think things are going to come in, then it could come in on the 26th and be backed up. So, you know, what was supposed to hit tonight may hit late in the morning today. It's going to back everything up and put it in a different time frame. So just so you're aware of this. Again, look at the map here. There are lots and lots of little places to go along the shores of Michigan. Do not all crowd into one place. And I would hazard to guess, if you're a serious aurora hunter, Mackinac is the last place you want to be because that's the first place tourists go. And unless you want to stand on a beach with 50 other people snapping on red lights that turn everything that they touch red, it is the last place you want to be. If you're wanting to seriously get a good picture, that dark sky place is the last place you want to go for auroral pictures, because you have to use a red light. And people have not learned to use their cameras without turning on a red light. Now, my people, what do I teach you? I teach you to sit down and learn your camera by feel. If people that are using cell phones, it's much easier. They don't have to. I will caution you, though, if you're using a cell phone, put your screen into night mode so it's not so bright, so it doesn't disturb other people. You will still get a good picture. It's not going to affect the picture you get, but it will make it so it's not so disturbing to everybody around you, and your screen won't be so bright at night. So turn your displays down. Those of you using cameras, if you know where the buttons are on your camera, you don't have to turn on a flashlight, and that means you don't have to disturb anybody else. But if you have to turn on a flashlight, if you're going to start walking away, please remember to tell people you're going to turn a flashlight on. Give them 30 seconds to get their shutters closed before you turn on a flashlight. Let's work together. It takes teamwork out here, especially during busy times. All right, that's my forecast for tonight. Everybody have a good night.